I was doomed to be a failure. Everyone believed I was going to be a failure. And at that point, I was like, no, I'm going to prove everyone wrong. I am going to make it. I always say the best thing that happened in my life was failing. Because unajua wazazi walishindwa sasa wewe tutafanya nini. So they actually asked me, what do you want to do? And I told them, I want to do film. So let's go scout for, at this point, my dad had already passed on. So it was my mom. She was like, okay, let's go look for film schools. And I landed at Kenya Institute of Mass Communication. When you put in work, and you put in a lot of work, it does not matter which industry you come from, you will get the fame. And the day you forget about the work and lean into the fame, that's it. You've lost it. So if there's one thing Abel and myself we always do is keep ourselves in check. At the end of the day, what's our core business? Our core business is content creation. Success is where preparation meets opportunity.
There you go.
Yeah. So for me, any moment I've scored a big deal, it's always because I'm preparing for it. I'm always prepared for it.
Yeah. And the opportunity just presents itself.
So the opportunity comes and you've put in the work, boom, success.
Boom, success.
Yeah.
A very good morning to you and a warm welcome to LNS, the Rebuilding Series. My name is Lynn Ngugi. Now today I get to host a legend. I know, Nana blush, he's blushing about it, but let me tell you guys, I have so much respect for this guy, and I guess it's after we had a conversation on his platform that I got to truly understand the kind of person he is. We connect on a deeper level. I was like, you listen to that? He was like, yeah, I listened to that, I listened to that, I listened to that. But to imagine that today he has produced and directed some of the most brilliant series that we've gotten to watch as Kenyans, and to know that at one time he was told he would amount to nothing. He actually believed he would amount to nothing. And look at him right now, putting Kenya in the map, making us all proud. And to be honest, I don't know the direction our conversation today is going to take, but I can tell you, when I'm around him, I feel home. I feel like I'm talking to someone who truly understands the creative aspect and someone who is an amazing human being. So I'm about to let him introduce himself. But before I do that, I want to say thank you to you, my people. Hey, it was all a dream, huh? Biggie, wekeni Biggie hapo. 700k subscribers, here we come. Asanteni sana. Thank you so much. I don't take it for granted. And I know leo sijavaa elegance, but as always, guys, go support them and let them know that we appreciate them. And now, without further ado, please allow me to let this incredible gentleman introduce himself. Good morning.
Good morning.
Do you even need an intro?
Chatuanzia. Wewe kwani taxi za kawaida kufikia hicho iko na maziwa mob. I love it.
Oh my God.
Mtu yangu.
Yeah.
Wewe ni kama hii taxi ikusumbua.
No. Who's Zakayo? Nah, I don't know. Like me, I'm good. Maziwa ni mingi.
Maziwa ni mingi.
But hii ni ya before tax.
Hii ni
ya before tax. But right now tuko kwa tax era. Yeah. This thing is crazy.
Oh man, it is. But like you said, I introduced myself.
Please do.
The name is Philip Karanza.
Yeah.
I am a movie lover.
Yeah,
I always introduce myself that way because either I'm watching films or I'm making films.
Yeah.
And I've been doing this production thing for about 2 decades now.
Oh my.
Yes. And yeah, on top of that, I'm a father.
Yes.
Yeah, manze, na mimi napenda tu life.
Unapenda life. Kai, man, karibu sana.
Asante
Thank you for making time. I know how busy your schedule is. And do I have to tell our audience you are here 30 minutes earlier? You are such a timekeeper.
It comes with a job. I come from a world of media. Na unajua kama umeambia watu news ni 7 p.m.
Yes.
At 7 p.m. huwezi anza kuambia excuses.
Yeah.
So I learned that from the first day I got into this world.
Yes.
You never give excuses. Always keep time.
Yeah.
So I always try and keep time.
And keep time.
Yeah.
But what does time mean to you? Like, because it's only after a couple of years back, it's when I began to understand how important time is. I was listening to Arnold Schwarzenegger in one of those audio motivations, and he was saying we have 24 24 hours. So he was breaking down 24 hours for every individual. And when he's breaking, he's like, you can sleep 6. You still have 18 more hours left. You can go to work for 8. You still have 10 hours left. You can. So he was breaking, the analogy of time. And it's only then that I started asking myself questions. What am I doing with time? How serious do I take time? Or is it that, do you love when people waste your time?
Oh, no. And I truly appreciate anyone who keeps time, because I think time is the one currency we have. Honestly, you could have all the money and everything, but time is the one currency that's standard. And if you use it well, utenda mbele in terms of life. So time for me is important. I've realized the earlier I wake up, the more I'm able to achieve. The more, so for example, if I'm up, let's say by 4 a.m., I'll be able to hit the gym, go to work, hit my targets, and by 2 p.m., 3 p.m., I'm done with the day. So I'll be able to hang out with my child after. So time is
everything.
Yeah, time is everything.
Yes, I want to kickstart this conversation because I want to know the kind of things that you are rebuilding in your life. I want also to understand what mental toughness, discipline, and consistency means to you. But I was doing a bit of background check, and I found out you suffer from something I suffer from, imposter syndrome. When people tell you are great because you have really directed amazing movies, you've produced great content, we would wake up to Mother-in-Law, Tahidi High, all these things, and hey, it has Phil's name on it. But right now when people tell you are great, do you believe it?
I still have a problem believing it. But currently I have people in my life who are telling me, Philip, now, we are done with that. We are done with you not believing it and fighting with imposter syndrome. So I have people telling me now, Phil, you need to know who you are in this country. Not everyone gets to sit with the president. That means something, for example. And do you know, until I think I was around 32 years old when I realized how much I'd suffered and where it came from. So I come from a family, we are 5 siblings, 4 sisters, all of them A students. Mimi, I was the only artist, I was the only average kid. And back then, parents, and I don't blame them, I love my dad, but to him, ikitu ya kuchora, ikitu ya art, acting, music, nini. The most you're going to amount to is maybe a teacher. That's what he kept telling me. So I think when you start from a young age, you're always being told you're not good enough, you're not good enough, you're not good enough, because you're not getting the A's that your sisters are getting. It gets to you. So you grow up believing that you're not good enough. And, it took a lot of people, because you'd say, oh, Phil, you're a good director, but I'd be like, no, have you seen so-and-so? And they're like, Phil, do you realize you have more hit shows than all those directors you're mentioning? So, but say mtu yangu nataka kuchange. Now I really want to believe in who I am. Because I've put in the work. It's not just having an ego or just being proud about yourself. No, we put in the work to match. To match, like I see a lot of people sharing the Snoop Dogg, I want to thank me for. And so sometimes I feel like that can easily be confused with pride and ego. We feel like we don't want to celebrate our wins. We feel like once we put our wins out there, people might think this is ego, this is pride, but I've worked so hard for this. I'm deserving of this. Absolutely. I work with very many young people. Nakaa kuna generation inanijaz ni the Gen Zs. I think millennials, sisi yenyewe tuko na shida pali, but the Gen Zs, man, what I'm learning from them is how much pride they take in. For them, one accomplishment. Tuko na bash, tunaambia kila mtu, tunapost kila mahali, and they're so proud of it, and so I learn from them, and I see how much pride they take in the small wins that they get. And they're always asking me, Philip, you've won all this and this, you have all these accolades.
Yeah.
We don't see you doing anything for yourself. So yeah, I'm learning from the younger generation.
You're learning.
Yeah,
Okay.
I am.
Yeah, and it's good that you've mentioned a bit of your background. I understand your dad is late.
Yes.
Our condolences. But take me back to growing up. How did you maneuver from I'm not good enough to this legend that we have right now? And what was your relationship like with your dad?
Okay.
Transitioning now to the man that you've now become.
I had an amazing. I had an amazing father and mother. Actually, the only thing we ever fought about was my love for sports and arts, because according to him, and back then he was right. Really, there was no future for arts and sports in this country. Si tumegrow Dandora. So so a lot of the actors then wenye tulikuwa tunajua wako KBC walikuwa naishi Dandora and they were not doing well. So my dad alikuwa anashinda akiniuliza, so this is how you want to end up, my friend. Do something serious, do accounting, do the usual stuff, be a doctor, do medicine or something. So that's the only thing where we never connected with my dad. Apart from that, he was a great man. And now as a father, I see it because you want the best for your child. And that's why it's also important for me nowadays. I tell artists and successful people in the creative world like yourself, please show success. Please show success. For Abel and myself at Philip Productions, by the mantra yetu inakuanga simple. We want that child that one day when a child walks up to their parents and they're like, Mom, Dad, I want to be a scriptwriter. The parents will go, oh yeah, we know Abel Mutua. That's a good career. Go for it. Because that's what we lacked when we were growing up. And can we put as a train of thought with your question?
Talking about your dad would look at the people around. The artists around.
The question, I'm trying to remember you had two parts to the question.
Yes. Talk to me about growing up and
the transition. So yes, so throughout school, I was an average student, and it's because school was nilikuwa nachoka, like sitting down behind a desk in 45 minutes. To date, I will do like 45 minutes behind my laptop, take a walk for like 10, 15, come back, do another 45. And the most I'll be in that office is like 4 to 6 hours. The whole concept of a classroom huwa inanichokesha vibaya sana. I'm a guy who loves being out there. And so because of that, I was an average student. I struggled. So we always fought with my dad because of my grades. And when I cleared high school, I got a C. I got a C plane. Sikumbukangi. And to me that was
for creative.
And for us in our family, that was a fail. Students remember. So everyone, by the kwa nyumba watu walikuwa shindwa sasa tutafanya nini na yeye. And I think at that point is when something snapped in me, because I was doomed to be a failure. Everyone believed I was going to be a failure. And at that point I was like, no, I'm going to prove everyone wrong. I am going to make it. And right from when I cleared high school, I have been putting in the hours. I started off with doing scripting and directing church plays. And I went to college. I always say the best thing that happened in my life was failing. Because unajua wazazi walishindwa sasa wewe tutafanya nini. So they actually asked me, what do you want to do? And I told them I want to do film. So let's go scout for, at this point my dad had already passed on. So it was my mom. She was like, okay, let's go look for film schools. And I landed at Kenya Institute of Mass Communication. The day I got in, sijai feel nika niko home hivyo. So I think...
What was it about it that made you feel home?
Art. Let me tell you, as far back as when I was in class 1, I used to sketch. Your time nganya ndo zilikuwa zimetokea, tulikuwa tunazita nganya. So I used to draw for people and I used to sell to them the drawings for 1 bob ama 5 bob depending on the size. So msee anaiweka, unakumbuka zile set, mathematical set, wasa walikuwa na stick hapo hivyo ama ukifungua locker wana stick kwa desk. So art for me has always been part and parcel of me. And so when I walked into Kenya Institute of Mass Communication, I found big posters for films. And I love film. I used to be that kid mwenye on Sundays mavijana wengine wakienda kucheza ball, my goal the whole week was to save 20 bob ndio ni watch movies 4. The movie ilikuwa 5 bob.
Yeah.
So 2 before lunch, 2 after lunch. Oh. That used to be my Sundays. So when I walked there, I just felt home. And film is that curriculum that where you're always outside. Because why are you sitting in class?
Yes, why?
Chukua camera and go shoot.
Yeah.
And that made me feel at home.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think that switch happened for me. Immediately after high school, I was like, I have to be successful. Also, the other thing I've never doubted about my life is I'm going to be rich. Mtu yangu ukigrow na shida, kuna vitu zingine hata inakuanga na negotiable. Hata God anajuanga.
Yeah.
Kuna vitu mob nime struggle nazo, but I know for sure I will always be a rich guy.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's man. I say poverty is what motivates me. I hate poverty.
Wait.
Man,
Sisi what?
I don't know. Like, I hate the thought of knowing I will ever go without food again.
Yeah.
I hate the thought of knowing I'll ever sleep outside again. Yeah. I hate the thought of seeing my mom cry again because she can't provide food for us.
Oh,
that thing makes me feel like I can even go and start washing the clouds so that I can get money of it. Like, it is so... I don't know if you feel the same way about it, because you're in Dandora. For me, I come from Huruma. I spent most of my time there. And I was like, is this all there is to life?
Oh my goodness.
Is this all there is to eat, you know?
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Poverty robs you of dignity. Kabisa. You're so used to bad situations that... Yeah, poverty, wacha nayo man.
Out nature. Like, it's for me, honestly, if there's something that motivates me, it's the thought of knowing I'm not rich, I'm content.
Yeah.
But I'm not going without food.
Oh, yes.
And that thing for me, it's just like, out of the window. I can't, you know. Absolutely. So you there at Kenya Institute of Mass Communication, and then now you started feeling this is freedom for me. Yeah. This is what I love. What was your breakthrough, and how did you end up now from that place to directing and producing?
Awesome. So, I loved film from when I was a kid. I've said that. Yeah. And so when we were in high school, one of the days tulikuwa tunawatch movie. Zilikuwa zinaitwa Entertainment. There's a film. It's not even a super good film. It's called Naked Weapon. I'll never forget. Yeah. So they had this particular shot where it was an action film. So guys are fighting, and let's say someone is anaenda kukupiga flying kick, and they'd freeze the frame, and they'd do a whole 360-degree shot of that guy mid-air. That just blew my mind. I was like, what is that? I want to do that. Whatever they've done, I don't know what it is. I want to do that. And so I started saying I want to be a cinematographer, I want to be a director. Those are the words I mentioned then.
Yes.
So this is high school. So when I clear high school, because I'm very clear my path will be something to do with theater and film, I start writing and directing plays in church. I joined college, and KMC has one of the best drama clubs in colleges. I joined immediately, and like by first year I'm already writing, like there's a main play, but kuna ya Kiswahili yenye ilikuanga tu. So I'm taking my chances. I'm writing that, I'm directing, I'm acting. And in second year of college, we went to the National Drama Festivals. We're putting in, I keep saying, please let your children do these co-curricular activities. They actually prep you for life. You see, because you have normal classes during the day. So what used to happen for drama, we'd wake up at 4 a.m. Tunakimbia, because you have to be fit, because we are dancing, we are acting, so you need to be physically fit. 4 a.m. Kole yetu ilikuwa hapo South Sea, so tunakimbia Mombasa Road. Kuna hiyo bridge hapo Nyayo. Manze mnapiga like 10 laps up and down mkiimba. And then you're back in class you're supposed to be in class by 8 a.m. The classes end at around 4 p.m. or 5. You're back to rehearsals. We rehearse up to midnight. Kumbuka 4 a.m. you're up again. So that kind of taught me, about putting in work. And we put in the work. And that year, I won Best Actor. Abel Mutua won Best Performing Artist.
Wow.
So coincidentally, on that same day, the assistant director for Tahidi High was in the crowd.
Yeah.
They were casting. This was on Sunday when we were winning the awards. They were doing the auditions on Monday. So he had come to scout for talent.
Yeah.
And because we had won Best Actor, he just walked up to us and was like, tomorrow 6 a.m. be at KNT. We are doing auditions for this role. But basically, his auditions ilikuwa too more of a formality. They already had seen the talent. And that was my breakthrough. And that taught me, which is a mantra I still use to date. Success is where preparation meets opportunity.
There you go.
Yeah. So for me, any moment I've scored a big deal, it's always because I'm preparing for it. I'm always prepared for it.
Yeah. And the opportunity just presents itself.
So the opportunity comes and you've put in the work, boom, success.
Boom, success.
Yeah.
And now you have been introduced. You know, I think shows like Tahidi, Mother-in-Law, all the shows that came, there was a revolution in the Kenyan drama series. And we saw now people here are actually making good money. But for me, now I'm looking at you and I am having a deja vu right now. I don't know who I told this. I'm looking at you, having come from that era. And unfortunately, I'm looking at other people who were also in that era. And the difference is right there. Some of you have really succeeded in life. And I look at other people and I'm like, what went wrong? What went wrong? Were you introduced to money early? Were you not coached, or did people just choose different paths? And for you, what kept you grounded? Because I'm assuming the money is good right there. You're straight from college to TVs and stuff. The money has to be good. So what kept you grounded? And from your observation, where did it go wrong for these other people?
I've asked myself that question severally. And I think I always zero into vision. As long as your vision, your dream is bigger. I felt like for myself and let's say Abel, when because we met with Abel in college. So by the time we even joined Tahidi, Abel and myself knew we were going to start a company, for a production company, because we wanted to tell our stories our own way. Na sheng yetu ya mtaani.
Exactly.
Because at that point, by the sheng on TV was unheard of. In fact, vile tuliingianga Tahidi, tulikuanga tunakosana na producer because si tuliingia tukaanza kuongea sheng kwa show, which was almost unheard of at that point. But for us, our dream and our vision was always bigger. And I feel like once we got into Tahidi, for us, it always felt like this was just a stepping stone. Apart to make it. I feel maybe the rest got in there and they were comfortable. They, like you're saying, Tahidi High was a big show. That show was huge. We used to do numbers. I don't think any other show will ever achieve
those numbers.
Because of course, Vitu's maintain size. Because then there were only like 7 TV stations. I remember at some point we used to do like 98% ratings. Like 98% of the TVs turned on Tuesday 7:30 p.m. was Tahidi. So we got really big and making money was not as... I mean, we were not making super crazy money. But
the money was good.
The money was good. So... For my colleagues and I, like, there's nowhere in this country we couldn't walk in at that point. So mtu yangu ukiingia place yote, drinks are being offered for free. Money is just like, I think we were amongst the first people to start getting paid for appearance fees. Like, you just show up. We'll pay you just to show up. Usifanye kitu ingine, hata hatutaki uongee. You just show up. And so you're young. You don't really have a vision or a goal. And you're making all this money, so the most natural thing ni tupige sherehe. But you know, for Abel and myself, because we knew we were going to open a company, tukipata do tunabuy lights, tukipata do tunabuy kamera kadogo. And thankfully, I always say, because we were so busy, we were producing 2 shows, Tahidi High and Mother-in-Law. So we'd shoot Mother-in-Law during the week, and then on weekends we're shooting Tahidi High. To date, nikijipata free on a weekend sijuangi kitu ya kufanya.
No way.
all through my 20s I was working on the weekends all through. So mi sikuwa na opportunity ya kukuwa na social life, and I think that saved me from that life. Yeah,
You
ya
know,
sherehe.
I started working when I was in my early 20s.
Yeah.
I think even when I was in school, I was still
Yeah.
hustling. And even in my 30s, I'm still working hard, right?
Yeah.
But it took me 2 years ago to realize that too must have damaged me in a way.
Oh, it does. It does. Yeah. Please
Is
go on.
it like we said it's a blessing because it saved us from a lot of things, right?
Yeah.
But sometimes, like, for me, even going for nature walks, drives and stuff, I was like, nah, I'm not going. I need to do this. I remember in my previous company, I would work even during the weekends. I felt like by Monday I need to have a show. So I was working myself, and I knew I was hungry.
Yeah.
Because sometimes when you grow up in these places, you don't have a choice.
Nope.
Either you do it or die or whatever.
Yeah.
Something.
Get rich or die.
Get rich or die trying, right?
Yeah.
So, but now I look back and I don't know how to think about it. I'm still confused about it. Because even right now, when someone wastes an hour of my time, I don't know how to cope with it.
Yeah.
I feel like you're wasting my time. I need to be doing something. It's only now that someone really helps me get out of that zone. I need to go for road trips. I need to have some fun. I need to watch a bit of a movie.
Yeah.
So, but me, I'm not going to blame my 20s. They are a blessing in disguise
Oh,
either
yes.
ways.
Oh, yes.
You win some, you lose some, but
and unfortunately kwa hii life we'll never really get the balance, because if you didn't put in the much work you did in your 20s, you'd not be where you are right now. Same for me. And yes, you and I, by working that much in our 20s, there's some fundamental things we lost. We forgot how to have fun, and fun is very important and integral in every human being. I am sure if you're like me, you don't have a lot of friends.
I think I have 2 or 3 friends. I like it that way. No. Don't get it. Like, no, I like it.
You like
I
it that
love
way.
it. I love it that way. Because I've come from a place where you have so many friends and there's no value in that.
Right.
But now you have 2 friends who get you.
Yeah.
Someone, even when you put your face like this, they already know something is bothering you.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
The closeness.
Absolutely.
For me, I am okay with 2 or 3 friends.
Yeah.
I'm good with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sawa.
How about you? How many do you have?
2.
You have 2?
2 friends, and then there's family.
Yes.
And so even family, like I drifted apart. I don't feel that close with my family, and it's not that like there's something bad that happened, but I was working all through, especially weekends and holidays, because Tahidi High, we used to shoot in an actual school. So school holidays, that's when we're shooting every day, because we have to rack up the shows. On holidays, whether ni Madaraka Day ama nini, it's the one day watoto waendi shule, hiyo ndio siku tutaenda shoot. So family functions, I missed all of them. Any trips, anything fun, I missed it.
Yeah. Do you think it comes from wanting to prove something? Because for me, honestly, working hard, number 1, I don't want to see my mom suffer. But number 2, I want to show my dad, you left us, I'm still going to make something out of myself.
Right.
For you, what point did you want to prove out there? What point did you want to make?
One, of course, poverty. Mimi sitaki kusota. Mtu yangu mimi sitaki shida. And when I say this, people will assume I have money all the time. No. There are days you're super broke, but the broke is different. Yeah, you're broke, but there are a couple of contracts coming, signed,
and money
and
hanging somewhere.
Because we are still building. We are not at a point where we can live luxuriously. But poverty, 1, to escape poverty. And number 2, I don't think I am one of those people who will be content with just going through life and having no impact. when we were doing a business model for our company, the guys who were taking us through, the first thing they did was we had to track our history right from childhood all the way up to now. And what we've realized, the one common thing Abel and myself have is when we walk into a space, things have to change. We don't walk into a space and conform. We walk into a space and we bring our energy, and that just tells us that we're not the guys who will always just follow the path as it is. But the guys will, you guys are going that way. I think he path. Okay, sioni, but 22 evil. So I think those two things.
Those two things. Wow, interesting. That's interesting. But let's talk about you as a young man. Relationships, girls here and there, women here and there, coming from a place where your dad passed on. Who taught you how to be a man and how to handle such situations? Or would you say he had laid a great foundation for you already? And were you also confused? Because there's an age where you bend too much towards relationships. Sometimes you can lose your way.
So my dad passed on when I was 15. So I was still a teenager. So to date, I still say I miss him a lot because unfortunately, after that, I've not had a father figure. So I've had to figure out everything else by myself, So I make a lot of mistakes. But again, the working bit, it really is saved by the... When I say it's saved, because, man, you're young, you're famous, and I don't know what it is with fame and ladies. It's like a magnet.
True.
But because I was always working, I didn't get, and so, throughout my early 20s, I was in a long-term relationship. I've always done long-term relationships. I don't know how to do situationships.
Wow, we are together in that.
So I think by the honestly, ile sio ati kudanganyana, being that busy actually saved my life. Because it was either nitaingia life ya sherehe, alcoholism, ama ya madem. But bro, you're working Saturday, Sunday. So udem unamleta kijani saa ngapi?
I know. I know you're working. But what strikes me is that research shows, we have a lot of statistics out there that shows the rate of suicide especially is higher on men than it is on women. For you as a man right now, because you've experienced being an entrepreneur, being a father, being a husband, being a friend, being all these things, as a society, where are we getting it wrong, matters men?
I remember one instance there's a family gathering we had a few years back, and there were 2 kids for my cousins, a girl and a boy. And got to my sister's place. She has this big shelf. And the girl, alianza ku climb the shelf. Everyone stood up, running to save the girl. Because utaanguka, utaumia, mashelf kuangukie. Later on, a few minutes later, the boy climbed, kila mtu ako hivi. Awe, si utoke hapo, nani? Aya. And there's just almost immediately when a boy is born, immediately there's this thing that men are strong, and society just tends to protect women. And as men, you just brought up being told you're strong, you don't cry. Actually, I think even when my dad passed away, after I was given the news, mi nilitoka kwa hao, nilienda kulia na huko. Singelia mbele ya watu. Actually, I think the first time I've cried in front of someone might have been sometime this year. Like now is when I'm learning to be vulnerable in front of people. I have never done that. I'm 36 years old. 36 years I've never cried in front of someone until this year. And so that thing of telling men you need to be strong, men don't cry, men don't show emotions. So you grow up bottling all these emotions. But at the end of the day, we are humans. The same pain you feel, I feel it. The same emotions you feel, I feel. And I love the way that women just talk. You guys just talk. You guys will meet and talk and talk and talk. For men, it's actually a learned skill. Like I have to learn to approach my other friend who's a man. Nimsho bro siko poa. Siko poa. It's not a very easy thing to do. and maybe we just now need to start teaching our boys from a very young age.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay, come hug me, it's okay. You feel like crying, please cry. Yeah, what's bothering you? And I think we grew up with such harsh parents that even opening up was a problem. Yeah, so I have a son, and one of the decisions I made by the time he alikuwa anafika class 7, class 8, I was like, sitaki kupiga tena. You do anything wrong, you sit here, we talk about it. We're going to have lengthy conversations like real men. And I actually learned to hug other men because of my son. My son just loves hugging people. Used to love. Say ameingia property ni juu say yani gangster kugotea. But he actually taught me it's okay to hug other men. I learned that from my son. And he's one of those people, with time he's learned to open up. So like we sit down and we're like, yo, let's have a conversation. If you're angry, let me know you're angry. Yeah.
Pour it out. Let me know what you feel. That must have helped. It helps also right now. Yes,
it does.
And you've mentioned something important. It's so hard for men. I was talking with my partner and we were saying, hata watu wakienda, it's funny, yesterday he came and he was like, I just met someone I've not seen for years, and we just started talking about maandamano. Right? Wow. So this is how you men have conversations. Me, I'll see a girl and I'll be like, how are you? And even relationship, they start coming out, right? You men, you'll meet and, hey, you've not even seen each other, but it's like you mask, You go to the bars and, you are hurting, you are breaking, and even in the bar is when you can't talk it out. You and Abel, because you are close, and I have massive respect for the both of you. Now, do you have those conversations? Can Abel come and tell you, and this yuko poa? And do you think, I'm assuming Abel is one of your close friends?
Yes.
Do you go to him and now tell him, hey, come and see yuko poa, Abel tuonge?
And it's something we had to learn. Like, I'd say like about 4 years ago. We both had to. So now when we started structuring our company, we realized for you to actually grow a company, you have to be okay. As one of the directors, as the CEO, by the way, if you're broken, your company will be broken. If you're not financially literate, your company will suffer financially. So we had to work on ourselves. And so we both enrolled in a program where it was more of therapy and coaching just to learn that skill. And I think 4 years ago is when we really now honestly just started having those conversations, because we both realized we had these deep-seated issues from childhood. Ametoka Kibera, me ametoka Dandora. So poverty just does something. And a lot of the homes from ghettos are not, ideal homes. So we both had this baggage, and we, so manze ni kitu tumeanza kulearn in the last like 4 or 5 years.
And
imagine.
Guy, it's funny because if you are broken, your company will be broken. You're saying this is something you and Abel have had to learn for 5 years. But for 5 years, we've experienced massive growth from Feel It. We feel you. We feeling you see what I did?
I see what you did there. Na foinge studio mtu yangu toa hit song.
We know we feel you.
We
are feeling the project.
Right.
We are feeling the synergy. I mean, I don't think there's a project of you guys that I don't feel like I'm a part of. I'm one of those people who is always vouching for you, wanting you guys to win. But you're right. You are doing it.
You cannot dissociate the person in the company. Never ever. And if you're a toxic person, your workplace will be toxic. Inakuanga hivyo. And the number one most important thing in a company is culture. These big corporations internationally, if there's somewhere they spend a lot of money in, is culture. Because culture is everything. When I walk in through that door, I am going to feel Lynn's presence in this space. Mtu yangu nimeingia kwa washroom yako nimekufeel like that, just that toilet. I know, because the way you've made that toilet, I'm like, this is so Lynn. Like you have inspirational messages in your toilet. I'm like, that that is the importance of
Yeah.
culture. So when I walk in through this door into this office, Lynn Ngugi represents inspiration,
Yeah.
and I feel it from the word
Oh,
go,
thank you.
because I see that how you've done the art, the
Yes.
flowers, the inspirational messages all over.
I appreciate that.
Yes.
Wow.
So you as a person
Yeah.
is a direct reflection of your company.
Of your company.
And the more you elevate yourself, the more the company elevates.
Yeah, man, I feel like I'm sitting with my big brother. Was Big's brother. So,
Yeah.
friendship.
Yeah.
I think for me, the biggest mistake I made was going into business with friends.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I thought that friendship translates into a working environment. So I felt like kujeni tufanye hii tufanye hii tufanye hii tufanye hii, and you know, in your heart you are psyched, it's not a mistake in terms of friendship, but a mistake in terms of business.
Yeah.
I felt like friendship na business ziko pamoja. But I'm looking at another sample here. You and Abel, you've been friends for a long time, and you are still able to make it work. But I can hear also a lot of work. You go for coaching. You have people who are mentoring you.
Yeah.
You have people who are seeing you through.
Yeah.
You are also becoming self-aware.
Yeah.
From people like us who went into business with friends, and you know, the worst part is once you go into business with friends and then it doesn't work, even the friendship never continues.
Oh yeah.
The friendship never continues.
That is true.
What has been your experience, and what would you advise now someone who is about to? Because I know there are businesses where you can go with friends and it works. It's that
Sorry.
hiyo ni alamu ya intermittent. There's there are businesses like yours now that is a success. You're there with your friend, with your brother.
Yeah.
What are some of the things that you would advise? I know better. I know what not to do. I know even if I bring a friend and we are working together, what we need to be specific on.
Yeah.
But now, because you've been in this game for long, what would be your advice and observation?
I think one of life's cheat codes is when you're able to partner with someone, because by doing so, immediately you split the risks.
Yeah.
So getting a friend who you can do business with is a win-win situation, but it's hard. And it's hard because of what I've just said. You cannot dissociate the person and the company and the business skills. So if this person is your friend, from the word go, you know their weaknesses and their strengths. And I think before you go into that business, the first thing you ask yourself is the weaknesses, I won't say, are they potentially going to be problematic? So say for example, your friend is not good with money, for example, then you know your company is going to struggle with finances, you know. So do you want to take that risk, or do you want to have this conversation with your friend and you're like, bro, I think we're struggling with your financial literacy. I think it's time you attend some classes and see how we can fix that. So just like business and friendship, it's something you have to keep building and growing. Kuna times you kosana na Abel sana. Him, he's a proper creative. For me, I work more with structure. So for me, I have timelines and deadlines. I'm like, we need to shoot this film by this time and have it out by this time. Lakini bado tuko hapa hivi na sina script. Because him, he's a
Coming out.
the mic. Oh, sorry. Yeah, because he's the guy who will not write a script until he feels he's in the zone.
Okay.
I'm like, sasa bro, zone na time hazipelekani. So we still have those, but I think for both of us, the one thing that keeps us in check is we both know that anything we do is for the good of the company. And we are so aligned in terms of vision and how we want to get there, and our virtues are intertwined. So for example, 6-7 years ago, we made a decision we'll never do business with government bodies, because we know our governments mwanzo kiangu kiatenda sijui wasi wangapi ilo bana need. So one of the things is we don't do bribes. We don't bribe people to get jobs. And that limits our options. But for a reason or the other, the universe conspires. And the corporates we work with are corporates who are also zero tolerant in terms of bribery. So unaona hiyo ni kitu yani tuko so aligned. We don't have to fight about it. What else? Yeah. So, I mean, there are a lot of dynamics. I won't tell you don't do business with your friend.
Yes.
I think I'm at a point in life, ni take a risk.
Take a
jump.
risk. Jump. Huh?
You just jump.
Yeah.
It might work, it might not.
work. Yes.
But be aware as you jump, both of you will need to work on yourselves a lot
a
and
lot.
on the business a
Yes.
lot. Yeah.
How do you guys handle conflict? Because honestly, me, I'm Abel. This side, I'm a creative. I'm energy. I'm sifili kitu. Leo sijiski kushoot. My
Yeah.
co-founder,
Yeah.
he's you.
Yeah.
He's structures,
Yeah.
policy, everything. So
Yeah.
we fight. You find yourself at a place where me, I'm as a creative, I can only do something if I'm feeling it.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
If
yeah.
my gut feeling is like, this is wrong, then him is like, but we have deadlines, we have everything, But how do you guys solve conflicts as friends? Because I think for me, what has worked with him, we are able to sit and have a conversation.
I think because we've worked with him and I've known Abel for almost 2 decades now, so I've learned how to work around it. So I just plan way, way in advance. So if I'm dropping a film in 2024, I will make sure I book him into a hotel this year sometime, beginning of 2023. Go out there, find your inspiration, do whatever you have to do. Just bring me the script. And the minute amenipea script namwambianga haya wejibamba.
Now we are good.
Uenda tafuta mimi niachie nifanye hizi vitu zingine. So and then also for him, he's also come to understand the value of timelines and because he sees structure also helps. So we've been able to find that balance. And also saa zingine utakasirika lakini manzi akisha kuletea script unasahau makasiriko because you're like, yo, this is a good masterpiece. Like with our last film, Click Click Bang.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yes.
Tulisumbuana na script. Mtu yangu, mi naanza kushoot next week. Bado kuna scene sina. Nini mtu yangu? Ya Buddha. Bado sijazifeel. Kwa haki ya Mungu wewe. But and then we because the model we're trying with the films is we are really trying to change the whole aspect of filmmaking because everything we know about film we've learned from Hollywood. And the way Hollywood preps and writes and shoots their films is very expensive. It's not sustainable in this market. So even how we structure our scripts, there's a number of pages I have to limit him to and a number of scenes.
Wow.
Bro, aliniletea script yenye ni double hizo pages. I'm like, goal hapa ni to have 10 shooting days. We ended up having 18, almost 20 shooting days. So, and shooting days are expensive. Every single day, guys are filming on average. If we collectively take the amount of money we use on production and we split it into a daily rate, we spend about 300 to 400,000 a day. In production. So when you add me an extra 8-10 days,
that's crazy.
And because he believes in the stories, he will fight for it. He like, Philip, I don't know where we are getting the money. Shida yako ni pesa, wacha niende nikutafutie do. So this time round he was, that's how we find balance. Because he brings the script, I'm like, bro, this will exceed our shooting days. And shida yako kubwa ni gani? Pesa. Wacha niende nikutafutie pesa. And this time round he's the one who went out and he brought in investors.
Wow,
so I think aliona umsata jamu, wacha nimtafutie do, wacha kupiga kelele.
You gotta understand each other.
And
you have to respect each other in the process as well.
Absolutely.
Let's talk. Sorry, go on.
Because both processes are super important. Even for you and your partner. Your partner knows I need to lean into Lynn's. You see what I did there? I need to lean into Lynn's creativity. And for you, you also understand for the bills to get paid here, I need to lean into that person's structures.
Man, I'm learning. It's tough because I'm less than 2 years here. But it's a bit tough. But I look up to you guys. For me, I always say like, if mine is not going to be, it's good to have role models. It's good to have people you can look up to. And I'm good that we have you guys to look up to. But let's talk about controversy because you, Abel, Philip, you have a clean record. I admire you. I admire that I don't blame people who cloud chase, but that's not for me.
Yeah.
Because it's short term,
Right.
it's microwave, and I look at you guys, and your work record speaks consistency, discipline, credibility.
Yeah.
Congratulations
Thank
on
you.
that.
Thank you.
We don't see that a lot, you know. You know, sometimes you even go and you're looking at Philip, what can we get that is, if
Juicy.
I'm hosting, not even juicy, but if, because I do background,
Yeah.
so you want to really know the person that you are bringing here.
Yeah.
So you're looking, there's nothing, there's absolutely nothing
Right.
about you that is negative out there. What keeps you focused so that you don't end up in this other side of, you know, the blogs, the news?
Yeah. I feel like, I know this is a conversation we've definitely had with Abel very many times, and it's very easy in our industry for you to lean into the fame. And so this is how we usually frame it. When you put in work, and you put in a lot of work, it does not matter which industry you come from, you will get the fame. Bob Collymore was famous. He's not an entertainer, but it's because of the levels he took Safaricom to, you know. So, and the day you forget about the work and lean into the fame, that's it. You've lost it. So if there's one thing Abel and myself we always do is keep ourselves in check. At the end of the day, what's our core business? Our core business is content creation. So we constantly, like Abel says, he has to write every single day. He's a creative, he's a writer, he has to write every day. For me, I have to, nowadays I'm split because before it was directing, but now I'm learning to be a businessman. But every single day, I have to do something, either research or read or do something connected to film and connected to business. Because it's very easy to lean into the fame. It's very easy. And now once you start leaning into the fame, now what you start chasing is that energy you get from the love or the hate, depending on how you look at it. So I think kitu sisi imetu ground ni
Tufanye tu kazi.
Tufanye tu kazi. Kitu imetupea hii fame ni hii kazi. So tukiachilia hii kazi tuanze kukimbiza fame, ni hivyo tutapoteza what has built us.
Okay, and it's good. Let's talk about criticism, because I've seen this is for all creatives. I think the biggest, for me, not that I was disappointed, but I feel like creatives are their own worst enemies. Because it's hard out here. It's not easy to put this show together. It's not easy to think, if I bring Phil on the show, what am I going to talk to him about and make it a success, right? So when I see creatives are the first one to call each other out, oh, you're not funny, this is not funny, you can't do this, you are not even funny, blah, blah, blah. For me, that's disappointing, because I feel like, you know my DM, you know my number, you can call me.
Absolutely.
If I'm going wrong, I know 100%. I know the first person I'll ever get a call from in this industry, it's Abel. He'll be like, mtu yangu, atokea. Hapo unachoma, you know? So what advice would you give? Now, this is between creatives to creatives, because it's very sad if we are the first ones to call each other out. Positive criticism is good, but hey, si you slide tu kwa DM, basi hizi tips unaenda kunipea kwa thread, si ungenipatia tu basi kwa DM hizi tips ungenipea. And have you also felt criticized by other creatives?
Oh, every time. This is my, sorry, mic. This is my opinion, and you know, it has worked for me. So one of the things I had to learn running a company was, how do I motivate the people that work for me to give me their best? And I realized this thing we call criticism, positive, negative, anything called criticism is bullshit, because criticism assumes that you're talking from a point of logic. Like the person you're criticizing will take in your criticism with logic. But let's be honest with ourselves, human beings are not logical at all. We do not use logic. Human beings use emotion, ego, and your background to reason out things. whenever I come to you with any information, you will lean into how you're feeling emotionally, what your ego is telling you, and what you know.
Good.
We never use logic. So for me, I choose compliments over criticism. If honestly I want Lynn Ngugi to become better, the first thing I'm going to do is compliment you. I'm going to compliment and not bullshit you and not lie to you. I'm going to compliment you. I'm going to say, Lynn, I believe this and this and this you're doing so brilliantly. Yani, mtu yangu, sijui nikakushikanisha na umse, aanze kukufunza about proposals. Sijui, naona nikatu yani uta blow up. Human beings lean into that and they go forward. I don't believe in criticism at all, but that's me. And so just creative to creative, I have, and especially now that I have gone from scripting to putting up a film and selling it myself, mtu yangu kawa ni creative. Na uliamka, na ukashoot production kama hii, sitawahi ongea vibaya. If I watch your content, Lynn, and I am not enjoying it, I always just say, I'm not the target audience, and I move on to someone else. I'll never come to your page nikwambie, Lynn, manze una talent, una bo. What I tell myself is, I am not the target audience. So let me just go watch something that's, so for another creative to say that about a man who has put in years and years of work, and you know how much it costs.
I don't even know. She got me emotional because you know it's a lot.
Yeah.
You don't even get international tours just like that.
No.
You don't.
Man.
You know, like whatever bullshit people are selling to make kusamehea or whatever, for me, I'm not for it. I'm like, no, that is not how you do things.
Absolutely.
That is not, because I feel it takes a lot.
It takes a lot.
My first trip outside the country to go and do a show, I was still pinching myself. Is this really me in a plane heading to the UK to do a show? Then uniambia ati si uko fani kuja ufanye hii kitu, but like
kwenda huko bana. You know, so
enough for what it is.
Yes. So for one thing, and honestly I believe, I'm not sure, but I don't think I've seen the people who are critiquing Njugush in this way, sio watu washaifanya show zao. Like, you know what Nyashinsky has done? The Shin City. I kid you not. After Nyashinsky amedio kitu, you'll never find Nyashinsky talking badly about another artist. Itakuwa hard. Because you see what it takes to put up a show. And put up a show consistently for years. Like what you said, if you really have something genuine to add value to my craft, you have my number, you have my DM. Talk to me directly. So that's the first point. I have an issue with that. Second point, and this is now just generally to all Kenyans, we all have a right to criticize and say what we feel about people's content. But I think we never see the bigger picture. And the bigger picture is, as Kenyans, we spill a lot of bile and hate online. And we don't realize that's how we market ourselves. That's how we market our country. So, especially Twitter, manze. Twitter, every day utaingia tu ni...
I left.
You ulitoka.
I know, I have a lot of love there, but I also have those ones that I saw. But so I was like, you know what, I'm out. I did not leave it. My profile is still there, but I nilitoa your app for my phone. I don't go there anymore.
One of the most surprising, I had a meeting last 2 weeks with the biggest production company in Nigeria. They did The Perfect Wedding, which is like the best-selling film in Nigeria ever. And, you know, we're sitting with them and, you know, we're having conversation and I'm telling them, this is what we're struggling with in the industry. And I realized they had the same struggles we're having as creatives like 10 years ago. But we never saw that here, you know. By the way, they never used to respect their stars. They never used to care about their stars. They used to think their films are crap. But we never saw that here. Now, as Kenyans, we have this habit of when Msana put up show, we all run online to complain and say all this bad stuff about it. What we don't realize, we become the PR out there. So if you go out there, go to any Tanzanian, walk to any Tanzanian out there, they believe all Kenyans are thieves. Why? Ukienda online every day tunakunga tu tukicomplain. Oh, tumeibiwa. Oh, the government has stole this money. Oh, that's the PR we have. if you ask anyone about Kenyan cops, including Kenyans themselves, if you ask them about Kenyan police officers, they are all corrupt. But the truth is, it's because of the imagery that's out there.
Yes.
The only videos and photos we have of police officers in Kenya is them receiving bribes. But I know on a personal level, very many officers who don't take bribes and who will die for you and die for this country. We have so many good police officers. But because that's not the image we promote, then the PR we have for police officers in Kenya is they're corrupt. And I saw there's a Nigerian blogger. I happened to watch her video on YouTube recently. And she had just come into Kenya as a tourist. She's a lifestyle blogger. And she says the first person she met when she landed was a police officer. They had their cameras. They were not harassed. They asked for directions. In fact, the police officer is the one who was telling them, you in Kenya too, Nini? Go visit so and so and so in this place. And she was actually shocked. She was like, yeah, police officers are good in Kenya. It's not what I experienced in Nigeria. She was Nigerian. So now this is just generally to all Kenyans.
Yes.
If you need to say something and it's negative, si uandike alafu isave kwa draft. Sio lazima useme kile kwa kichwa yako all the time. You know, the only way as Kenyans we can go to the next level is if we constantly build on what we have. Nigerian music, Nigerian film is where it's at, because as much as the Nigerians were complaining, they were not showing it to the world.
They were using
to the world out there.
No.
Nigerian content was the best. Nigerian music is the best. To Tanzanians, Diamond is a god. It's a king. You walk into Tanzania, every billboard iko na Diamond. And you actually, have you ever seen a Tanzanian scandal?
No.
Anywhere online. They have their scandals. They kwanza jana ama ni leo. Nimesikia ni wapi, ni Zanzibar. Ati wanaume wafai kushuka nywele. Bro, ungekuwa kwa Ngori. Man, you're taxed 58,000 Kenya shillings as a man kushuka nywele. Si tuna complain hapa juu ya taxes. Uko na taxiwa juu ya kushuka nywele. But you'll never see that online. And I wish that's a culture Kenyans can adopt.
I love your approach. I love, if I want to say something about your film, I'm going to start by complimenting. I'm going to start by the casting was awesome. Maybe nikikushikanisha na hii set next time, movie itakuwa kali. Even if you tell me that, I think there is one day someone approached me that way and it changed the dimension of my shows. She was like, I love your work, Lynn. You're doing amazing. But now imagine having a psychologist when you're handling these heavy shows on set. The next week, the show had a specialist. We had and I've kept that now. Even right now, when I bring a show, I'm like, is there a gap here? Do you need therapy on the show? When someone comes to you like that, it helps you. Hizo show za kulia wende ukatengeneze zako za kucheka, you know?
Yeah, because as human beings, I've put in work to be here. So the first thing ukiniattack inakwanga kujidefend.
There you go.
So when you criticize someone, they will not change. The first thing is to defend themselves. Yeah, because you're hurting my emotions, you're hurting my ego, you're hurting the work I've put in. But if I come with a compliment, the first thing ni, wow, thanks manzi. Yani unaona ile work yote na put in. Umesema therapist. Hiyo ni point kali. By this day you're na hivyo.
Good. You know, that's
compliments
good. I love that. You know, now, do you believe you're enough? Do you believe, because there were times you felt you couldn't amount to anything. Now, do you actually believe you are enough? Do you believe you've amounted to something?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I am there right now. I won't lie to you, it's still a journey. There's still days when the imposter feeling comes in. But and I just feel like there's a new brand of film that's just starting, and you know, people are just going to be awed about him.
It's visible.
It's visible.
I can see it.
You can see it?
Thank
you.
I subscribe to your platform. To be honest, because I know it takes a lot for you to say yes to this interview. It also takes a lot for me to say yes to an interview.
Yes.
So when I came to your set...
Ma'am, thank you for that. First of all, thank you.
No.
Yeah, because you don't do interviews.
No, I honestly...
But I think you've only done one.
One.
Yeah, with Dr. Kingori, was it?
Yes, with Kingori and Kagoni for Kikuyu. And when I said yes to your interview, you can ask. I was just telling someone, I can't wait. I can't wait to be on that set. You know, that day I came straight from a funeral
Yes.
to your set.
Yes,
And I was feeling, I felt home.
Yeah.
And now I'm one of those people who will go and see ameweka nini Peter Kawa, okay, leo tuko na nani Ruto, okay, leo tuko na nani Cynthia Nyamai, okay. You are doing good. It's visible. And I just like going through the comments. People believe you are dope as interviewer.
Thank
so
you.
you might as well just...
I have learned from the best.
You know?
Yeah.
You know, so people believe you are actually doing a good job on your YouTube channel. So continue. We are having beautiful conversation. I felt home. Paka nikaenda kusema nimechoma kwa hiyo interview, nilichoma. And I was asking my partner, what did I say? What did I say?
Yeah.
And he was like, no, you are good. You are good, you know. But I felt like I needed to let out a lot of things. And after that, I feel like the next interview I'm going to do is maybe 3 years or so. But that one, I felt I was home. So thank you for having me. Thank you for paving way for so many people out here.
Right.
For me, it's a safer space to have you around, to know I can look up to you. When I wake up and I'm discouraged, I go to your profile and I go to Abel's profile. And I'm like, hey, nah. Like today in the morning, I was just feeling some type of way. And I'm just like, there are those people, you go to their profile and you feel good. Yesterday, I said, kesho interview, I feel it abamba. I was so excited about it, you know. I was like, so it's good for us to have people like you out there to look up to, and you are leaving a legacy behind. But before we wind up, this series is dubbed Rebuilding. What are the things you are rebuilding right now in your life?
Number one is what you've just come from talking about. I'm rebuilding myself in terms of believing in myself. I don't think for a long time I had believed in myself. And when your self-esteem is iko huko chini, you also you destroy a lot of partnerships and relationships. So I am trying to rebuild those with my family. And so currently rebuilding my self-esteem. I'm rebuilding myself. I am an actor. I am an artist first, you know, and I had lost that person for a very long time. And, you know, I'm trying to bring him back. And I'm telling people now, I'm shouting everywhere. I believe in myself. It's time for you guys to start believing in me. And the minute I started saying those words, I got Lynn Ngugi on my show. I had been becoming CEO for a while before niache, and I didn't even believe I could call Lynn and Lynn would come to my show. And I know Lynn is a friend to us, but that's what self-esteem does. You're like, oh, I'm not good enough to interview Lynn. I'm not good enough to interview the president. But once you start saying it out aloud, start believing in it, things just start happening.
Wow.
Yeah.
Beautiful. You are, for me, I want to see you on screen again. To me,
I can't wait.
No, I feel like you've said uku, you know, you're directing, you're producing, but your screen presence was also very beautiful. And that's something I can't wait to look up to. I know for me it's Denzel. For you, who does it for you?
Ooh, wait. Yo, we did like 30 minutes.
Yes.
So from directing, I have like 5 directors that I combine everything they bring to the table. Christopher Nolan is up there. So like this month I'm waiting for Oppenheimer, Basana, Christopher Nolan, David Finch, Edgar Wright, this guy who did Hateful Eight.
Anyway, we'll put it here. Yes.
Hiyo jina inapoteaje?
Acha to Google.
Inglourious Basterds. Wait, what director?
Ngoja.
Hiyo jina inapoteaje manze?
Hold on.
He says he will only do 10.
No, he's here. He's called no, it's not Tarantino.
Yes, it is.
It is.
Manze ndo nashinda jina inapoteaje.
Tarantino,
Quentin Tarantino and Guy Ritchie. Those are the 5 directors I really look up to. In terms of actors, I have always been blown away by how Johnny Depp disappears into a character. And Christian Bale. Johnny Depp, Christian Bale.
I love Bale.
By the way, unajua Christian Bale, kuna movie niliwatchingi and towards the end niko, uni Christian Bale. like he had put in weight and he looked so different. I love characters and actors who disappear into roles like that because I feel that's how I do my acting. For me, I really disappear into a role. Yeah.
Good. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Felt no woman.
You felt normal.
Go check Ava DuVernay. She's doing good. Directing. Yeah, but that's awesome.
Who?
Ava DuVernay.
Ah, yes. Yeah, and you know, it ties into what you do. So
Yes.
by the content, I've learned that people watch content depending on what they're going through and where they are at in life. So Ava DuVernay just does content that brings about social change, and that's what you do as well.
I love. But I can't wait to see you on screen, off screen. You're doing it for our Kenyan films. Highlight of your film career? Many.
People will not believe this, but right now my goal and my vision is crystal clear, and I just want to bring money to film. Simple. And as much as I'm getting all these awards, they feel good. I mean, it feels good to win. But for me, it's the fact that we've been able to do 2 films and we've been able to break even and make some profit. That for me is my highlight. And because the film industry is a multi-billion-dollar industry across the globe, I still do not understand how film does not make money in Kenya. Yeah, so I cannot wait to change that landscape in this country, where we actually do films and they break box office records and they make money, because film is so powerful. Today, if I came to this location, to shoot in this location, I guarantee you I am going to affect the ecosystem around, because one film employs so many people. Wase wote wanduthi wako area watakuwa job, shopkeepers wote, wase wote ufanya catering, mafundi, nini. Film is the one industry that employs across sectors, across. Today, if we took 3 good films with good budgets, tuende Embu town, by the way, unajua kazi zote Embu zita stop. For sure, because they cannot even sustain the ecosystem of just producing a film. And film is powerful and it's beautiful and it can change economies. And it's something we're trying to engage with the government with and telling them, look, agriculture is big, we still need to eat. But the next biggest thing in Africa is the creatives, it's entertainment. Start looking into this sector. Let's start building those policies and infrastructures. Because entertainment, creatives, art transforms nations. Kabisa.
Proudest moment for you? Are you proud first of yourself?
Oh, wow. I am super proud of everything we've been able to do, because tumetoka mtaa wase hawafai kumake it. Tukiwa Abel, Dandora, Kibera, you don't see that many successful people from there. So actually this is a conversation I think I was having like a month, 2 months ago, and with one of my friends, and he's like, Phil, I think you don't appreciate yourself. Buddha, umetoka Dandora na sahi unaweza jilipia keja somewhere on Kiambu Road na unaweza drive ile gari would drive. Sidhani unaona zile strides umemake. So I'm super proud of the work I've put in. I think I have an amazing daughter. There's a daughter of mine over there.
She's
I'm
beautiful.
super proud.
She's beautiful.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Like you get me emotional sometimes. I don't know, umetoka kuna place mse utoka ufai kumake it. Ufai kumake it. Kuna place mtu umetoka mtu hafai kumake it.
But then unaingianga kwa rooms fulani wako unafanya nini hapa. So you know that thing of culture? We walk into boardrooms in this country. As a rule, si uongea Shem na Abel. So inakuanga interesting kuona hao makul kid wakingangana ku understand tunasema nini. Because we said we're going to be unapologetic of who we are. Kizungu yangu sio fluent. Lakini hawezi command Martina influence. That's a Giuliani line. Giuliani has always been like, I use him as my Bible, because amegrow kwenye niligrow here, and the lines he keeps saying, unajua kiatu imekanyaga sewage sasa ndio kanyaga boardrooms, from Boy Javelin to Boy Java. By the way, I use Giuliani as a Bible.
You know, Gosh, I wish we had more time to talk about music cause nao umeniingisha kwa music.
Wewe tutatafutana tuongee
ngoja tuongee
music
kidogo kuhusu music basi kabla tufunge. Yes, you are a lover of music.
Oh yes, hip hop specifically. And place nilikuwa na stay Dandora, place nimegrowia, that street had like 60% of uko fulani Mau Mau. On that street ndio Zaka alikuwa na stay, MC Roba, MC K, the original Keishaka, kama wa Keishaka na Roba walikuwa wamegrowia hiyo mtaa. So as a kid I'd go to Keishaka's house, naona wakidu cypher na freestyles, you know, so I grew up with uko fulani. And then I had this dad, amazing dad, who believed that education is key. So tulikuwa tunaishi Dandora but amenipeleka shule iko Parkland. So huko hivyo nimeenda nimepatana na mababi, so nimeintroduce to now proper hip hop. And I don't know, for some reason hip hop just says everything that's in my heart. And I've been able to build my life around a lot of iconic hip hop tracks. So locally, my favorite artist has been Juliani, because I think he said everything that I am. He embodied everything. Until he point alienda sana into historia, government, and what is it called? Activism. So hapo kidogo ndio nililost. I love Kanye West. He's my top artist.
I think we can close this show.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, go on. Me, they know me. I love Kanye. I'll never stop saying it. I love Kanye. He's Kanye. I don't know. I wish people would dig more deeper into Kanye.
I think Kanye, for me, how he got me was, before Kanye West, every rapper was hardcore, you know, I'm from the ghetto, tengia pale na gun, shoot everyone up. But Kanye West introduced an emotional side to rap, where he'd speak about his feelings, and he's from a middle class family, so he's not violent. And that's my nature. So I identified a lot with Kanye West and Juliani. Currently, because I'm on a business path, I am listening more to Jay-Z.
Oh, wow.
Because now I look up to him as a business mogul, and I'm like, so now I listen to his lyrics, and he's always he says, I'm giving you $1 million worth of dime for $9.99 on one of his songs. Gosh, it's funny because on the song OJ, he actually brings the whole business mindset into, he says this art cost $1 million. He would have rather bought it instead of chains and whatever. Next day it would cost $2 million. Then goes more. Like for me, I think it's because I was caught in the war between always choosing Kanye and Jay-Z. But now that you've mentioned from a business perspective, I think I need to start listening to Jay-Z. If your mind is there, he's good in terms of just giving that a business angle to the music. All right. I don't want to let you go. I know, man. I know. Tunaweza kaa for another 2 hours. I don't want to let you go. Mami, I wish you all the very best. I don't know what film you are working on next. And because now I love that there is a pattern. Now we feel like every time we have something from Feel It. Now we feel like we can. There's a solid ground right now in the film industry. I feel like every time we wake up, there's something cooking, and all of us, we are waiting for it. And I know Nigeria is there, Tanzania is there, they are all there. But I feel like now we are also starting to look forward, you know, to what we have. For me, I look forward to, I tell my friend, twende kuna movie, tunaenda tunakaa huko nyuma, tunanunua popcorns, tunaona akina Abe, we see you guys when you're doing the curtain. And I'm like, because ukiambia Abel uko hapa atashinda. So every time, like, when I see you guys winning in life, I'm a huge believer. I tell God, in a couple of years, 5 years, may I be where these guys are, you know. May I have a solid ground. May I have something that is solid, a foundation that really
really works for me, that has structures, policies, kila kitu. You know, because even right now, after you and Abel exit, we are still going to have Feel It production. You know, and just like Kanye says, he wants to leave something that is beyond his name. He doesn't want people to remember Kanye. He wants people to remember the art he left behind. So when I see you guys, what I see are beautiful structures in place, a very solid foundation, a business that is going to impact. You create a lot of employment. You know that.
Absolutely.
You know, you directed me. Guy,
you reminded me that.
2017 was the 2017 actually was the year. Was the year I showed up. I needed the money, bro. I needed that 10K. You paid me good. I needed the money for that simple scene. No, actually it was 10 because you guys called me again. So I had a clean 20 good K. Paid my rent and I was like, I'm good. But it's how you were walking me through the process. For me, that was my first encounter on a personal level. And I was like, he's good. He's good. I've been on your set. I see how you treat people. So keep it up.
Thank you.
And the food also.
And
keep it up. Salimia kina Spikes, salimia kina Judy, salimia your people. And may God continue opening doors for you.
Man, thank you. Thank you. And keep doing what you're doing. You're healing a lot of people and a lot of lives.
I appreciate it.
It's not an easy thing, but keep doing what you're doing. Thank you. And thank you for inviting me.
Yes, imposter syndrome kicking in.
Just like I'm
so me, I'm gonna repeat this for you. Keep doing what you're doing. You are an amazing director. If we have flowers here, I would have given them to you. You are an amazing filmmaker.
Thank you.
You are a very important person for us in our society right now. You are the mirror. And even when it gets tough, know that you have people like Lynn who wake up and they find inspiration from people like you. So take your flowers, continue putting us out there, put our work out there. Enda usalimie huyo mtu mwingine. Mwambie hii show, venye namtafuta simtafuti tena. Huyo ni Abel.
Sawa. Abel umesikia.
Yes, all the best.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, what would be your parting shot to our audience looking right there?
Subscribe to Becoming CEO. The channel is Phil Director, Becoming CEO. Also, as we grow the craft, visit www.feelittv.com. We have a lot of amazing content there. Please watch. I believe that feelittv.com will be a game changer in this country because it's built for Africans, by Africans, you know. Let's create our own Netflix, and the stories that are there are stories that you relate to and you hear every day. And apart from that, now start believing in yourself. You're good enough. You're good enough. It has taken me a long time to believe that, and now I'm here and I can tell you, I can attest, you're good enough. Please don't doubt yourself. You're a God. Go for it.
Go for it. I appreciate you. I know your schedule is pretty tight, so I don't take it for granted that you made time. Came almost 40 minutes earlier. Man, this is the earliest we've ever started our conversation. So I appreciate you for keeping time, for being an incredible person. And again, as I said, may God bless you. Go out there and conquer. May your name be spoken in the Oscars. May they be there on the nominations. May your films be at Cannes. May your name be spoken in front of the people you look up to. Usikie tu hapa John Depp anakuambia, Bosa, hi, could you direct me? Feel na John unaweza anguka.
Hata na direct.
There you go. Wow. Who knew? Who knew you would be the reason, you would be the game changer in TV? Right now, all the dramas, they have Tahidi mother-in-law in them. They are copying this and this and this and this and this and this. You know? You are right there at the beginning. So go win. No matter where you're from, your dreams are valid. Sini
Yeah,
sawa.
kabisa.
Acha tufunge show, my people, because me and Phil can talk until tomorrow. And I hope you guys, you've enjoyed. As I said when we started this conversation, I had no idea what direction this conversation was about to take, but I'm glad we've had it. I'm actually really glad that I've also had it for myself. I've learned a lot of things. There are things that I'll just go kando nimuulize ati hapo ulifanya nini na nini. Things, and you know guys, there's no shame in asking. You don't grow by acting like you know. Sometimes you really have to ask, you have to study, you have to learn from people. So I want to know what your take home on today's conversation is. Please on the comment section, and do not forget to go and check his work out on his YouTube channel. There's a very beautiful channel out there that is letting people be themselves. I went there, I felt like home. I would go there again. I said things I've never said in my entire life. So go and check him out, and also continue supporting creatives. For me, I never knew criticism was as BS as he said. Now I know how to approach it. I know how to tell someone how to improve. I know how to correct people with love. Now I know. So for the people who are watching and also you don't believe in yourself, you thought you couldn't amount to anything, how about you watch this interview over and over and over again? And I love that, guys, you've seen. It doesn't take a day. It doesn't take even a year. This is someone who has been with for 20 plus good years, and he's still putting in the work, from writing his scripts, you know, for church, going and doing drama festival, to now becoming this legend that we have in our country. Man, it takes a lot. For me, I'm tired of people who make it look like it's easy. People who will go and twerk and make other people feel like, you know, this is easy. Just do this and tomorrow you'll be a success. Microwave success is never sustainable. You cannot sustain that kind of whatever success. So go and put in the work. Do not be scared. I keep saying, no matter where you are from, or no matter what you do, be proud of it. There's no shame in hard work. There's no shame in hard work. But now I think we are learning. It takes a lot. Hard work, consistency, discipline. Just putting the work, my people. Just putting the work, and one day you never know. So I appreciate you for watching, and as always, if you want to share your story with me, info@lnn.digital, that's where I'm at. And also, I don't get to do this alone. Thank you to my incredible team, Edgar, Scholar, and Muga, for putting this together, and of course Kevin and Sam for editing this episode, making sure it reaches you guys right on time. Let's keep on rebuilding. My name is Lynn Ngugi. Till next time, bye bye.